The objective of a very environmental-oriented economy is to preserve all life, human of course, but also the life of everything else on which we depend. In the last couple of weeks I've been to 3 meetings. They all in some way relate to that because they were all trying to change how we live, what we do, how we work.
Doc has been around a long time, written several books, and I met Doc years ago. He wrote a book called Zero Inventories, and I had just accepted a job as an inventory manager coming out of a factory for a company called Clark Equipment, and I didn't know jack. And he gave a presentation at the University of Kentucky, and I listened to him, bought the book, and become a hero. But that was starting my career in the materials.
I've been to 3 meetings in the last 2 weeks. That's a lot more than usual. And how do they fit together? Because they were all trying to improve their economic position or to change the economy. There were 3 different meetings. But to begin, sort of the objective that we'd have in mind is moving from what we have to more of a no BS economy. The objective of a very environmental-oriented economy is to preserve all life. One of them was the Association for Manufacturing Excellence Champions meeting. Urged them to think about the effectiveness of what they do and not just the efficiency. They're quite good sharing with each other so that each one can go back and improve the operations of their company. A second meeting was in Boulder, Colorado, Regenerative Futures Summit. Quite a few sort of scholarly people there. And then the conversation turned to our economic models. One of those is that markets are perfect. They aren't, of course, but it's the assumption of the system. If that's true, then you don't want any more activity than necessary handled by the government because it's not market, and of course it wouldn't be efficient. There are other assumptions, including that the financial system has perfect knowledge, therefore it will guide us in the proper direction, and the great market in the sky will always provide. Well, there are obvious fallacies in that if you think about it. So all those have holes in them. But where do you go from here? If you're going to change that, you got to change some deep assumptions. And Kate Rayworth was one of the speakers in Colorado, and her new model he just calls the donut economy. To paraphrase what that is, you need to sustain human life with the minimum necessary to have a society in which we can somewhat enjoy life, and stop before you get to the point where we're consuming so much that it expands or it exceeds the capacity of the earth to support it, either to absorb the junk we throw away or to have stuff we can extract. And of course a physical circular economy is part of it, but the donut is roughly some Goldilocks zone between the minimum we need and the maximum that we can use from Earth. The other meeting was the New Economy Coalition. They were very concerned about social justice as well as environmental justice. And so their idea of it was, what can we specifically do, like food co-ops and community gardens and things that we can have and we can control that will make a better life for us without us being dependent on this great system, whatever it is that we now have, because it seems remote from them, they're not a part of it, and they want to do something different. And so this was a fairly activist group, and not concerned very much with the great model. There's a big gap between these basic beliefs we have on how the world should work and the specifics that we have to live by every day. What are our habits of living? How do we change them? What are all the little rules we live by? And an economy in total is such a complicated thing that you can't separate it from the society in which we live. And so that's kind of where we're stuck, going from the old global trade is wonderful, everything will come from the great market in the sky kind of thinking, to we can take charge of our own existence and we can do it. But by the way, at that Colorado meeting, I was in one little group that concluded that shifting the basic beliefs in some form was the key to nearly all the rest. It might not look that way because you may shift that by having people do things very differently, day to day, change their habits. But gradually changing our attitude towards nature as the foundation of our existence is where it's at. You can overdo the competition. You can win, and then what did you win? And so if your mission is to somehow improve the quality of life, all life, then winning is not the ultimate thing. It has a purpose. So what purpose does it serve? And keep that in mind. It's not just win to win, because we hang up another banner. Well, it's nice, it's a marker in a journey, but it doesn't tell you, are we really effective long term? Okay.
Thank you, Doc.